Nitro RC World here, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about my tank and battery pack mount. You can see I got this just sitting on here, but I want to just show you this mount here. This is what we're going to be building first. So you get some cardboard, some thick cardboard. This approximately 1 7/8. I would make it a little bit bigger. You can always cut it down, but start out with at least 1 7/8, 7 1/4. So you get some of this plexiglass, hardware store. I scratched it all up because I didn't want the glossy look of the plexiglass. But it's easier if you start out with cardboard and then you can figure out how to put the holes and everything. You don't have to work with this right off the bat. You do it with this. Set it on there, mark out your holes. Get it all smoothed off. Get it mounted. And you can figure out where your tank mounts. I go right up through the bottom here. Right up through the bottom here into this tank mount. You buy these body mounts. Dubro, I think they are. And they fit right in there. You put these on there, the stops. When you make these tank mounts, you got to be careful to get right down in the center. Get back to you, little bastard. Right down in the center there. Right down in the center. Start out with an X-Acto knife. Slowly get that started right in the center. Take a look at it. It's off a little bit. Ream it down wherever you need to go to get it right in the center. You drill these little size screws. I think it's a 1/16, maybe one below that. Tap this in there. These washers, this washer here is an associated diff washer. Fits perfectly, but whatever washer you can find, but it has to fit around here tight. You want this hole just barely big enough for this screw to slip in there. And I made this plastic washer here, same thing. Just make the hole just big enough for the screw to go into. I used the Traxxas rubber and that washer that goes in there. See that washer in there? Goes in there. See how this one goes all the way through this chassis mount, all the way through this into this tank mount for the back one. This one just goes up through the plate up into the tank mount. Then once you got this on there, and once you got the tank on here, tank is going to look like that. See how it's just barely got enough room there, so if anything hits, it's not going to hit the tank, it's going to hit your plate. So you got just enough room there where that tank sits this way a little bit, so this protects your tank. Get your tank mounted on there. Once you have your tank mounted on there, then you can start building this part. This is a Jado battery pack mount. This part here is the bumper here. Cut that off. Cut this down a little bit. And the same thing I do with the body mounts. Cut these off at just the right length. So this is, see how that's flush? Just below flush. Cut these off carefully, make them as flat as you can. Carefully get this hole right in the center. Same thing. You might want to make this hole first, right up in that peg, before you cut them. Carefully drill that straight in there. Drill like this. Turn it 90. Keep it square. Go back 90. Keep drilling it square a little bit, carefully drilling in there so you're nice and square. You want that as square as you can get it. And the battery pack, fits in there with the foam. I tape mine around here with electrical tape. That keeps this stabilized so you don't lose connection. You don't really have to do this, but it's a safeguard. I like to do it and make sure that there's no disconnection. You start running this thing and pounding it, and the batteries get knocked around and they could come loose. You lose control. So this fits in there. Get some of this foam. And the mount, your battery mounts, your battery pack, get these mounts. See how I got this one cut right there? So it comes right up to there. And I put another one on here. Got that one cut. So it fits up here. You can screw them in there, countersink them, or just shoe glue it. I'm just going to shoe glue it myself, but whatever you choose. Get this mounted on here. Probably shoe glue it. Grind this down. I'm probably going to grind some more of this, but that's probably enough if you just shoe glue it, or even screws. But you don't want to go into the battery pack, of course. Careful not to go too far in there if you're using screws. Get that mounted on there, and then make these washers. These washers out of some plastic. Just make that hole just big enough. Just big enough for this screw to go in there. And those go back in there. And you've got a nice tank and battery pack mount. Once this is screwed on here, once all these plates are screwed on here, these plates here, and this is mounted, however you want to do it, with screws or shoe glue, you just take these two screws off of here, take the batteries out when you want to change them. Makes it a lot easier. Of course, you're gonna have to retape this. I go around a couple times with the electrical tape. Carefully go around right in the center. That's how I do mine. Once it's all mounted up, it's all ready to go. So that's how I do mine. And you just plug this in, of course. You want to do it some other way, find your own way. But I think this is the best setup, is this plate with this tank mounted on here and your battery pack mounted on here like this. It's a lot more convenient, easy to get to your batteries and change them. Alright, above all, enjoy the drive.